Hey everybody, my name is Jerry and I'm glad you can join me. Today we're going to talk about the awesome Bridgestone RS10-R. We're going to do an oil change on the bike. We're going to clean and re-lube the chain and do some other maintenance. So stick with me because that's coming up right now. Okay guys, you can see part of my maintenance that we're talking about today. A brand new Bridgestone RS10-R. And on the left there, you see some X-Star fully synthetic R9000, a gallon of synthetic 10W40, and the Suzuki filter. There is a difference between the RS10-R and the RS10. They're not the same tire. Of course, they're both made by Bridgestone. RS10-R, see that? This is the Bridgestone Battle Axe Racing Street RS10-R. Now, you want to hear something funny? I actually ordered the RS10, which that has a longer street life, whereas the RS10-R is more of a track tire. Okay, but the RS10-R, this tire is more of a kind of a track day tire. It might last you a day or two for racing, depending on how aggressive you are. Some guys get more, some guys get less. But I ordered the RS10 because the wear on this RS10-R is a little too quick for the street. Okay, I get way less than 1,000 miles on this tire. I get like 700 miles maybe on it. So I ordered the RS10, and wouldn't you know it, they sent me the RS10-R. I'm not complaining because this is a nice grippy tire. I got this for like 160 bucks, and they normally run right around 200. So no complaints. As a matter of fact, I'll probably order from the same people again, hope they make the same mistake again. So whoever picked this tire off the shelf, I did the pick for the order, they can't tell the difference. And the label, let me show you the label. Even the label doesn't specify that it's an RS10-R. A lot of them are like that. See that? It just says RS10. There's no RS10-R anywhere on this whole. You know, you see a rear, but that's not what the R stands for, okay? The RS10-R, that second R, does not mean rear. Okay, it's a different compound. Okay, for the 2017 Suzuki GSX-R1000R, of course, we're using the 190/55 ZR17. MC, of course, stands for motorcycle. Okay, Bridgestone. Okay, great tire. I mean, I love this tire. So I'll order again next time, and if they give me another RS10R, I'll just keep ordering from them for the price of an RS10. That's hilarious. But I would like to try the RS10 just to see how much more life I get out of the tire. Okay, so also during this maintenance cycle, I'm going to put on a new oil filter, and we're going to put in some fully synthetic X-Star fully synthetic 10W40. A gallon of that. That's a gallon right there. Okay. Right. And the filter here. Yeah, there we go. See if I can get a shot of the part number for you. So for those of you that want to know the part number, okay. For the 2017 Suzuki GSX-R 1000 and the 1000R, take the same filter. There it is. There's your part number. Okay. So that's that. Okay. And you know, make sure you get your little crush ring washer for your oil pan nut, or I should say bolt. Right, the drain bolt. This goes underneath it. For the oil change, all I did, I haven't actually started it yet. I'm just loosening up the panel on this side. So I just took out that nut, the bolt that goes into that hole there. Okay. And know, right there. That one. Okay. And then there's one over here by the cover. Now the two on the top, that one and that one, you don't have to take them out. You can just leave them in there. Just make sure you don't pull on the bodywork too hard on the bottom, right? And then you do have to take out, which is going to be a little dark over here, but pretty sure you can see it. Right here is a mushroom style button you got to pull out. That goes on this triangular piece that covers the lower oil cooler radiator, right? And then you do need to disconnect the panel from the bottom piece down here. Okay. So once you get that loose, you're, you know, just kind of like this, right? Just hanging there loose. These are the different types of oil wrenches. These are band kind 3. This is the kind you can put a socket wrench on it, right? So you just, you know, I've collected these over the years for different automotive oil filters, from trucks all the way down to small little imports and motorcycles. Let's just see which one's going to fit. Looks like it's going to be the little one. Yep. And that's it. Now these aren't exactly ideal because they make it a little bit harder to get in there, especially in tight places. But I've got both because you'd be surprised sometimes how you can't get a wrench in there, right? Like on this one, it's got just a square hole in it. You stick your extension socket in there and you turn it. What's good about these kind is that you can actually get right down to the exact. You can put a torque wrench on it if you want, if you need to check torque. Okay. It says once you make contact, just turn it to two full turns. So that's all I'm going to do, right? You don't have to get it down to the exact pound-feet. Just use the instructions in the back. In this case, spin it on there once it touches 2 full turns. Now K&N, they have the filter for this bike too, I think. And I think I haven't actually tried theirs yet on this bike. They usually have like a little nut on the top, which is really convenient. Oil filter is, let's see if we can get a shot of it. It's right there. Okay, that's it right there, just above the exhaust. So all I'm going to do is put the spanner wrench on it in there and see if I can, after I drain the oil, of course. And then just move the oil pan underneath this exhaust, because you are going to get some oil dripping when you take the filter out, right? And then far as the drain plug, right there. And that's a little bit more towards the throttle side of the bike. Okay. So normally I warm up the bike for about 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Maybe just long enough to get the oil warmed up. You don't want it hot. And then shut the bike off. And then make sure you know that the bike isn't scorching hot. You don't want to burn yourself with really hot oil, right? And then just pull the oil pan bolt out of there, drain plug, and just let it drain. I'm going to use that oil pan sitting right over there. Sweet, sweet, sweet. I'm going to start the bike up and just let it run for a few minutes so that we get the oil warmed up but not hot. Go ahead and do that, because we want to be able to drain the oil when it's warm. Let that run for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, just enough to get some heat into the oil. At this point, I ran the bike for just, like to 140 degrees on the thermostat. I could read it up on the display, just enough to put a little heat into the bike, but not so much to make it hot. Okay. Let's see. The water pump's just kind of lukewarm, so that's good. And the exhaust is not even hot. It's got some heat to it though, not something I can touch for very long. The socket size for the oil drain plug is 17 millimeter. And you can see I got the oil pan sitting right here. And we're gonna go ahead and put this bad boy on there and take it off. Okay, she's a draining, and most of it's already out. Didn't take long. Okay. And the oil's just lukewarm to touch, and that's what you want. You just want that oil lukewarm. Now, you don't want it hot, because then you can't really work with it. You know, when you go take the plug out, you're burning your hand. Yeah, I wore gloves, but still. And I'll just let it do its drain. You know, let it sit here for a while and drain. Pretty simple stuff. Once all the oil's completely drained out of the oil pan, the crankcase, then I'll go ahead and take the filter off. Okay, just a couple of things I wanted to mention when you're changing out the oil. You'll notice on the end of this plug, the drain plug, that there's actually a little bit of metal shavings on there. This is a magnet on the end of the drain plug. This is the bolt, the plug. Okay, and there's actually shavings, little metal shavings on the end, and that's standard. That's going to happen, especially on new engines. And this bike only has 1,700 miles on it. Okay, but that little bit of, it's kind of hard to tell, but now you can see them, right? See that? So that's a magnet on the end of that, and it's intentionally designed that way to pick up the metal shavings so they won't circulate through the crankcase, right? So that's pretty cool. That's the way they do it nowadays. So anyway, the point is, make sure you wipe off the end of this magnet, because right now this is pretty dirty. I can see some metal on there. Okay, so we want to wipe all that off and get that off of there. Okay, the other thing that a lot of people forget to do is, this is when I took off this, I took this off, this was like this, okay? All the way down on there. Okay. That's actually a crush washer. This is what it looks like when you first put it on. Isn't that amazing? So when you get your oil filter, make sure you get your crush washer that goes with it for the drain plug. Okay, it actually flattens out. This flattens out to that, right? You wouldn't think it does, but it does. Once you torque it down to spec, and I'll give the torque numbers here in a minute once I put this all back on. This crush washer actually crushes down to this. So make sure you get your crush washer replaced. Don't throw this one back on there. See how it's got like a groove in it? So don't reuse it. I mean, if you're in a pinch, reuse it, but I wouldn't. Okay, you shouldn't reuse it. Get rid of it. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like when you take it off, and that's what it should look like when it's new. Okay, the flat side, there's a flat side, this is flat, and this is raised. Okay, you want the flat side to go against the nut. Okay, go like that against the nut. So your drain plug, drain bolt, okay, it should look like that when you're done cleaning. It's how clean it is. There's just a little bit of metal shavings on there that's hard to get every last little bit out. Sometimes you can take another magnet and draw it off of there. But what I normally do is I just work the the metal shavings to the top of the magnet, and then I just take a clean cloth and pinch the magnetic pieces off, and it works really good. That's how I do it. And just keep working until you get them all off. Should be like that, nice and clean. Okay. And I already have the other crush washer on there. Flat side is up against the surface of the nut, and the raised side is going to go against the drain pan. For those that want to know the exact wrench, Suzuki has the wrench. I'm sure you can find one in your auto parts store. But if you want to know the part number, there it is. That's the actual oil filter wrench. It'll fit this oil filter. 09915-40620. If you're interested in that wrench part number, there it is, okay? This is straight out of my Suzuki 2017 Suzuki GSX-R1000R manual. So when you put your filter on, you can tighten the filter 2 turns after it makes contact with the motorcycle, or you can torque it to spec. And for those that want to use the torque, approach, 14.5 pound-feet. Okay, that's for the oil filter. All right. Now, for the drain plug, the torque is 16.5 pound-feet. Okay, 23 Newton meters for those that are using metrics. Okay, if you're changing your oil and your filter together, which I always do, 3.5 US quarts. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to put the nut back on there by hand, and now I'm just going to torque it. I already have it torqued down, but just going to show you. Here's the torque wrench. This is a cheapy little Husky one. Okay, I have it set on 17 pound-feet because it doesn't do half pounds. Close enough. We don't care. Half pounds not gonna make a difference one way or the other. Okay, 17 pound-feet or foot-pounds as most people call it. Okay, torque wrench is on there. Okay, and you should be able to hear it. Hear that? Hear that? That's the sound you're gonna get when you're at the right torque. So that's it. Nuts on there to 17 pound-feet or foot-pounds as most people like to call it. We're good to go. Next thing we're going to do is take off the oil filter, which is right there. Okay, oil filter's next. We just put the wrench on it and take it off. Okay, let's see if I got the wrench laying around here, which I'm not going to try to do this with the camera in my hand. I will go because there is going to be some oil, but basically what you're going to try to do is pull back the panel enough to put this wrench on there, okay? And that's it, and then we'll take it off. And of course, move your oil pan underneath your filter because it is going to drip, right? Okay, got the oil filter off. Wrench worked great. Okay, and I usually just set the oil filter right into the oil pan. I don't even mess around. I'm just going to throw it away anyway. Okay, I drain all the oil into some just old used water or milk bottles, and then take it back to recycling. See, there's just a little bit of oil sitting on the exhaust down there, see it? Which is not really a big deal because just wipe off as much as you can with a rag. Okay, and then what's going to happen when you fire up the bike, it's going to smoke a little bit. Just make sure you get most of it off, that's all. Like, I'm going to wipe a lot of that off. Okay, a little bit got on the bodywork here. Okay, a little bit on the bodywork, so I'm going to go ahead and just wipe this on the inside. That's one of the disadvantages of having the bodywork on while you do it, is you do got to make sure you wipe everything down. So just wipe it down really good and clean it up afterwards. It's a little bit, almost always gets on there no matter how hard you try. Okay, so you can see a little bit of oil got on the exhaust, and we don't want that smoking and igniting, which it normally won't, but I wipe it down really good and then I fire up the bike and it'll smoke off. Usually I do that sitting outside a little bit in the driveway or something, keep a close eye on it, that's all. You can see that the rubber seal on the new oil filter is shiny. That means I put a little oil on there, right? Okay, it's got a little oil on it, just enough to get it a little moist. Okay, so I got the new filter back on there, looking good. Once I twisted it on there and it touched the surface of the bike, of the engine, I twisted it 2 full turns approximately, and we're good to go. And usually I just eyeball something on the filter for my starting and ending point going around. Right? Wipe down all the oil off the exhaust, as you can see. Alright. There's going to be a little residual left on there that's just going to burn off once I start up the bike. Okay, also wiped down the body panel. There's no oil sitting on the body panel anywhere here. And on the inside too. Okay, all along the side. Okay, so next you take your oil filter cap off, which you can see right there that it is. And stick a clean funnel in there. I usually just run a clean rag through the funnel and push it through all the way through a couple times, make sure the funnel's really clean. Okay, and then I'm just gonna use the oil. Just pour it real slow because it'll backfill into the filter and drip down the side of the bike real quick. There's not a lot of space inside the filler hole there, so just take it nice and slow. If you want, you can pour some into a little bottle first, and this way you're not holding that whole gallon up like I am. Unless you're buying individual quarts, that makes it easier, right? The chain and sprocket are just nearly spotless. Okay. And I just kept rotating the wheel. Just kept rotating and spraying it. Okay. Nice. Now that can there to the left at the bottom, chain clean, I used about 2/3 of that can. Okay, I used quite a bit of that can, and I just kept spraying it. You know, you don't want to spray it all over the place, right? You gotta spray it right on the chain links. So you want to take the can, the nozzle of the can, right, and spray it right on the links, right on the plate. Okay, and a little bit on the sprocket here. Okay, you don't want to spray it over here on the hub because we don't want to degrease any grease that may be in the bearings, so we gotta be careful not to spray it too much on the hub, right? So I spray it down here at the bottom. I have my rag down here. Right now I don't, but I did. And I spray it, then I spray it here near the bottom. Okay, and just keep going around until it becomes really shiny and clean. I get a lot of chain degreaser on there, right? And then take a look at this, guys. Look how nasty this. Okay, then I took the rag and went over the entire chain. Okay, on both sides. I just held it like this and went around. And then I did the other side too, and just rubbed it down really good with the rag, right? And then the sprocket, which you may not be able to see in this shot, but I just went ahead and ran the rag on the front of the sprocket, just where the chain and sprocket split away from each other, and I just ran the rag on this side and on the other side, and that's how I got the sprocket clean. You don't want to be spraying all over the place and just spraying. You don't want to be doing that, okay? We don't want the degreaser getting on the other side, touching the brakes. Okay, we don't need that. You gotta control where you spray it. All right. So right now the chain and the sprocket look really super clean. Okay. Well, I can't keep it like that forever because we don't want any corrosion kicking in. So next we're gonna go with the Yamaha Lube and just repeat the process, but this time with the Yamaha Lube on the chain. You want to put a decent amount on there, but you don't want to overdo it either, right? Okay, so now you can see how clean this is. It's all been transferred to a nasty looking rag. So we got ourselves a clean chain and sprocket, right? And now we're going to go ahead and clean it up. Now we're going to go ahead and put the Yamaha Lube chain lube on there and get this baby really good to go. It's used sparingly. Obviously we don't need to use a lot of this. I'm not spraying this very hard. I'm just letting it trickle out. Just enough to get it on the links. So take the time to go through it and do it right. Any little extra chain lube that's laying around, that's dripping, wipe it up. Okay, so you can see I have the rear wheel off the bike because I have going to take the new Bridgestone RS10-R to the local mechanic here. Right down the road. They're going to put a new tire on the wheel and balance it for me. You know, I just wire tie the chain with a little zip tie up to the back of the swing arm so it's not sitting on the floor. Because I just got done cleaning it, I don't want to get it all dirty. Oil filler hole right there. I put 3.5 quarts in there. Okay. So it looks like I could use maybe just a few more ounces of oil in there. Should be between the low line and the fill line, which I'm almost right in the middle. So I might add, you know, just another 3 or 4 ounces, bring it up, whatever. Maybe 8 ounces at the most. So one of the things I'm thinking about doing is changing to quick release for the rear axle, which they use in endurance racing. So I might investigate that, and I might do that. So that's the bike up on the rear stand. Right in the middle of doing maintenance. I got the new wheel back. The tire mounted on the wheel and balanced back from the local technician, a motorcycle shop near my house. I'm about to, I just put the axle shaft back in, lined it all up. Brand new tire, looking good. Got the brake caliper put back in there. At this point, we got the bike started. Got the oil, fill up the oil, 3.5 quarts. Start the bike, let the oil circulate through the crankcase and the oil filter. Oh yeah, that was much better. Had a nice little balance point there in first gear. Pretty sweet, guys. go, guys. The importance of regular maintenance on the bike, I can't emphasize it enough. Almost every time I go out, I check my tire pressure, I check the chain tension, I'm looking at brake fluid levels. Listen, the bike isn't going to take care of itself, guys, so make sure you do your regular maintenance and inspections often before you go out and twist that throttle right. Listen, guys, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and click that Texas flag. It should be right over here in the corner, and I really appreciate the thumbs up. And until next time, guys, we'll see you right back here again real soon.